first try.
Well, cheers to you, Weezer.
Ooh, 'tis the season for Christmas slush.
Yep. You know, I joined the Primitive Gatherings wool box, and every month she'd send out, or every box that we got, she'd send out a couple of recipes in there. And so I decided to give them a whirl. And I have to admit that there's a lot of skepticism in the Shipnewski household over this recipe because it had 2 cups of brandy in it. And it has fruit in it for you, Steve, our bus driver, who was always worried about my health.
And green tea. It's very healthy, Steve.
Very healthy drink.
Mm-hmm.
And so we mixed it up, and we got brave on Monday night. And
This is Weezer's third glass today.
oh, so of course, being as it's healthy, I guess it's, you know, it's okay. So
The brandy helps keep COVID away. The fruit and the green tea boost my immune system, so I'm going to keep drinking.
and we've got lots of berries in the freezer, so we can just continue to make batches of our holiday punch.
Yeah, you can go chilling with your snowmies and drink this.
Well, I
I'll hang out with Rudolph.
didn't eat carrots. It doesn't appearing, because look at that. He's got to wear glasses. He's got a dingo.
Nose. Some real nice bells on those antlers.
Maybe got a little close.
And you decked out the
yeah.
fancy
You know,
funky
if only
earrings.
they made light bulbs in my earrings so they would beep and
They'd look
light
like
up.
me chilling with my snowmies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all set for Christmas?
No, the FedEx man or UPS man hasn't dropped off the rest of my packages yet.
I'm proud. I ordered early.
And did you get them all?
I believe so.
Hey, that's impressive.
I've even
That's
done
very
some wrapping.
Hey, I have not done any of that yet. But they make bags in case you run out of time.
That's very true.
I do love Christmas though. Like, as a matter of fact, I watched Elf for the very first time this weekend. I've never watched that before. I was told that I couldn't be married if I didn't watch Elf with him because that was his favorite movie. But much like Cindy Lou Who, I always watch The Grinch. Do you watch anything fun at Christmas?
I like the Christmas Chronicles.
That is really good too, especially the first one. I like the first one better than the second one.
Yeah, I did too. Well, usually that's how that works.
Mm-hmm.
The first is always better than in those sequels that seem to come with it.
Mm-hmm.
I
love
still
Christmas.
can't bring myself, after this old age I've reached, to watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yep, hard pass on that one too.
Yeah.
But you wore them, so at least that counts.
I guess. He's close to my heart.
Yes, I like Frosty.
I especially like, hey, they even have glasses
I
on.
know, and they got lights.
Must be a little bright
So
out there.
fantastic. You know, I used to have, a couple of years ago at work, we wore ugly Christmas sweaters every Friday. And 2 of us put Christmas bows and garland on a mini skirt and wore that with leggings.
Foxy.
And it was really cute till it fell apart. Otherwise, I would have rocked that too.
Yeah, they don't make wrapping like they used to, do
They
they?
don't.
What are we going to look at tonight, Weezer?
Well, apparently, just so everybody knows, we have a Christmas obsession. And I kind of think we have since maybe the shop started. And we kept a lot of it so that we can do multiple segments on Christmas, but we're just going to show you.
I don't know where those weeks went since we were with you at Thanksgiving time, because we intended to do a segment each week with Christmas stuff. So now tonight you're going to get a bunch, and then a bunch that you won't see till maybe in 2021.
Yep. And we're going to do a hey, check out Christmas from our house to yours, because we decorated with a bunch of it this year.
That'll be fun.
I think it will be too.
It's always fun to get a glimpse into somebody's home and see how they decorate.
It
What's
is.
on the top of the stack, Weezer?
Well, I'll start with this. So funny story, I bought our first Christmas tree. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to put that in the house, and we unloaded it out of the box. I'm thrilled. Took me a long time to figure out what kind of tree I wanted, and apparently it was 54 inches from one side to the other. And I don't know about you, but that's a bigger tree than we ever wore in our house. So we put it back in the box, and here is our treeless now tree skirt.
And I like that.
Yeah. So this is done out of a charm pack
Very appropriate
2
for
of
you
them.
with the Hexies.
and made out of hexies. And the dogs really like it too, apparently. So
I
you'll
think
get some
Rudolph is out
jingle
there
bells
on
in
the
there. But you also have done a little bit of wool work. We have a lot of
We have
Christmas
a lot of
wool.
wool.
Cute
That was a
little
little
stocking.
stocking pattern that we did out
Also
of
just
primitive
little
gatherings.
pea. And lots of Holly Taylor stuff.
She always did a nice Christmas line, so I think that was part of why we were partial to her. I like that. It doesn't look necessarily so Christmassy, even though it's red and green, but that brown just tones it right down. This was a series that was done by Bonnie Sullivan. Each month there was a little wall hanging like this that my mom stitched
All
that
through
up.
the year. And then embroidery. This is one of my favorite embroideries. We talked about that as we were picking out all this stuff.
Yeah, you open up that box like, wow, I forgot about that. Another embroidery by Sherry Falls.
And this lady did some really cool Christmas stuff. So this was Whimsical's Christmas.
She always had a fun winter line.
And if you notice, the tree branch on here was paint sticked, which was kind of new for us, doing some paint sticking.
Very cool. This is one of my favorites, done out of wool felt, and my mom also stitched this little guy up for me. That's actually going up in our house.
This was also Whimsical's pattern and my first attempt at doing Y seams. And to this day, it's one of those things, every once in a while, you're really glad you went with colors that just don't go out of style. Because Y seams aren't always very easy to do.
Her mother won't even attempt them. This was out of
a pretty little
Three
Schnibbles
Sisters.
pattern.
Kind of old-fashioned Victorian look.
And another cute little embroidery with snowmen, which is nice. You can leave those up year-round. Or at least here it seems like you can leave them up year-round.
And some Santa Clauses.
And I love these little penguins.
And some more snowmen.
And some more embroidery.
And yet again, some embroidery. And we kind of chuckled as we were digging in the stack. This stack was in our house in a suitcase. How much we had tucked away in there.
Oh, we did. And we have a lot down here in the shop with us. Another this and that pattern out of Holly Taylor.
A saying that every little kid should learn.
Mm-hmm. I never had to use that though.
Never. You always wore a halo.
A nice little halo.
So Santa Claus always came to visit you with his reindeer.
And he got beef jerky and Coke because that was far more exciting and acceptable than milk and cookies.
Yeah, the Santa Claus at our house seems to like salt better than he does.
He's a little picky.
Sweets.
This was the same out of the
Bonnie Sullivan
Yep.
book. This little guy we just had to share. This was done by a friend of mine from the shop, and she gave that to me for Christmas. It's a cute little centerpiece.
I've always loved this little guy with a ribbon border. That was also a little Whimsical's pattern.
One of our very first wool projects that we did at the shop.
That thing sold
This
like
is
hotcakes.
timeless. Yep. Once
Santa
again,
and
Santa
reindeer.
and his reindeer.
And this was one of ours. We have lots of these. We could have dug a couple other Christmas ones out. But Diamond Charm in a Christmas theme. And I remember this guy. This was one of the first things I helped you applique in the store. And it was...
Sandy Gervais.
Yep.
And it's a really cool quilt, but it's hard to find a place for that to hang in the house because it's so big.
Santa's losing his beard. I think one too many little kids pulled on it.
Uh-oh. You suppose he cried when that happened?
Probably so.
He just needs a little fluffing.
So this was supposed to be a tree skirt out of a This and That book. Whoops. But we decided to keep it more like a table topper instead because we have a beautiful round table at home.
And another Bonnie Sullivan.
And I love this little one.
This pattern was designed by Bird Brain Designs. And I actually think she did a fabric line out of that same type of grouping.
Somewhere in here we did the red work version of this because I put together a bugger of a quilt. Sounded like a great idea at the time doing a sampler. I quickly learned directions are very difficult to read, so nobody ever really saw it in the shop.
This was a pattern and a project that sold and sold and sold, the good old red truck, which was Deb Strain's Christmas line from last year.
And Holly Taylor's Christmas line from last year as well, with little sparkles in there.
And a shop hop pattern that we did. This was one part of 3.
And this little guy you did for Marcus Fabrics.
Yep, good old flannels.
Flannels and snowman.
Are always a very good selling combination. And this reminds us of the reason for the season that we're about to go through and the true meaning of Christmas. It's been a good little seller for us.
This is kind of a famous quilt. This was in Primitive Quilts and More.
Yes, it was quite a few years
Little
ago
Snow
already.
Shepherd, yeah. You also did that out of Marcus flannels too.
Yep, I sure did. This is a dimensional, you can't really see it probably on the camera, but a dimensional poinsettia mat. We did quite some time ago.
And another little snowman. I remember we put this together during the state shop hop because of our background fabrics that we gave away. So let's use all the neutrals in that bundle. Look at my good memory.
It's a lot better than Thelma's. But it's a lot younger than Thelma's too.
And it's just a little smidgen. Speaking of smidgen, I really like candy for Christmas.
So this is a new pattern,
Is it really?
This is a new recipe, and you may find this on our website. What do you think?
It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Goes really good with my slush.
Well, I'm not sure about that, but
Delicious candy.
if you like toffee, you're going to want to
through.
check out that recipe.
For
It
sure.
uses Ritz crackers, and it's quite yummy.
Those
It's
are
very,
really?
very simple to make.
Honestly, I didn't know that it was made out of Ritz crackers. I would never guess that it was.
Keep it in the refrigerator, out of sight, or it's one of those things you might just want to sit down and eat the whole
It
container.
tastes fantastic.
I want to share my newest
Oh,
wool
you
pattern.
did have one of those right over here.
So this pattern I finished up. I don't have my directions typed up yet. I'm not sure it's going to happen before Christmas. I've learned that sometimes getting the stitching done, that's the easy part, and getting that writing done, especially now when I'm at work and I'm tired at night when I come home. That's the excuse I'm going to use anyway.
Oh,
I don't have my pattern drawn up, but watch our website and it will eventually be on there. And it was a lot of fun, and it looks quite pretty. I had a bouquet of flowers sitting on there, and it looked quite nice with that.
Well, I suppose while you're showing yours, as long as you aren't going to post yours tonight.
Yeah, so we had these great intentions that we were going to do. Maybe the 12 days of Christmas, a different project each day. We talked about it. We decided not to post it, and thank goodness we've gotten a little wiser with that, because otherwise it just causes some stress that we don't seem to be able to get our directions followed up and everything posted on that good old website. So
no, the workday takes up too much time, but this was one of mine. Boy, and when I hold that back and look at it, it looks like I just have a squiggle line down the middle of there, but I promise when we get it up close, it's a Christmas tree.
Quite cute, Lacey.
A little hexy project that can stand alone.
So these last 2 projects that we've shown you will be patterns that we know will be available in 2021.
Absolutely, they will be.
We're hoping 2021 serves to be a better year than 2020. We almost have it in the books.
We do. Yes, we do.
And you have a new beginning starting for you.
I do. I will be spending a lot more time at home after the first of the year and making the official move out to South Dakota.
And I'm excited about that, because that means maybe some sewing weekends right here at home in our shop, which we have really not had since we moved home.
We have not.
So I'm looking forward to that.
And it also opens up the opportunity to spend a little bit of time maybe staying in touch with all of you. So we also have some fun plans for that, but like we've talked about, we need to feel out how all this goes after my move before we start sharing some of those details with all of you.
So we've got ideas for 2021. We have our first quilt show scheduled April of 2021.
Yep.
That is in New Prague towards the end
Fingers crossed
April.
that we're going to get to see all of you in April.
And with that, Like
hope
we said,
that-
we're going to give you a little sneak peek of our
Our
homes
house.
with some of our projects decorating our home environment.
And hope that you have a very Merry Christmas with your family.
And a Happy New Year!
Yay!